Unsolved historical mysteries. History is filled with remarkable events, groundbreaking discoveries, and legendary figures. Yet, for every known fact, countless mysteries remain unsolved, enigmas that continue to perplex historians, archaeologists, and researchers alike. From lost civilizations to inexplicable artifacts, these mysteries challenge our understanding of the past. Today, we embark on a journey through time, uncovering some of history's most baffling unsolved cases. The Lost Colony of Roanoke. In 1587, a group of English settlers established a colony on Roanoke Island, off the coast of present-day North Carolina. Led by John White, the colony was meant to be the first permanent English settlement in the New World. But when White returned from England in 1590, he found the settlement abandoned. The only clue left behind was the word Croto, carved into a wooden post. Were they attacked by native tribes? Did they assimilate into local populations? Or did they vanish due to some unknown calamity? More than 400 years later, Roanoke remains one of America's greatest historical mysteries. The disappearance of the Library of Alexandria. The Library of Alexandria, established in the 3rd century BCE, was one of the greatest repositories of knowledge in the ancient world. It housed hundreds of thousands of scrolls, covering topics from astronomy to medicine. But at some point, this treasure trove of human understanding was lost to history. Some blame Julius Caesar's fire during his conquest of Egypt, while others suspect gradual decline due to political and religious turmoil. Whatever the cause, the destruction of the Library of Alexandria remains a tragic mystery, leaving us to wonder what knowledge was lost forever. The Voynich Manuscript. Discovered in 1912, the Voynich Manuscript is one of the most perplexing books ever found. Written in an unknown script with bizarre illustrations of plants, astronomical diagrams, and unidentifiable creatures, the manuscript has defied all attempts at decoding. Linguists, cryptographers, and even AI-driven analysis have failed to interpret its meaning. Is it a code, a forgotten language, or an elaborate hoax? The mystery of the Voynich Manuscript endures, teasing scholars with the possibility of hidden knowledge. The mystery of the Mary Celeste. On December 4, 1872, the Mary Celeste was discovered adrift in the Atlantic Ocean, completely abandoned. The ship was still intact, stocked with supplies, and had no signs of struggle. Yet, its entire crew had vanished without a trace. Theories range from piracy and mutiny to sea monsters and supernatural forces. But to this day, no one knows what truly happened aboard the Mary Celeste. The identity of Jack the Ripper. In 1888, a brutal serial killer terrorized the streets of London's Whitechapel district, leaving a trail of mutilated victims. The killer, known as Jack the Ripper, taunted police with letters signed from hell. Despite countless investigations and theories, his identity remains a mystery. Was he a doctor, a member of the royal family, or a deranged madman? Over a century later, the true face of Jack the Ripper is still unknown. The Tunguska event. On June 30, 1908, a massive explosion flattened 800 square miles of Siberian forest. The blast was so powerful it was equivalent to 1,000 Hiroshima bombs, yet no crater was found. Theories suggest a meteorite, a comet, or even an underground nuclear reaction. But no definitive evidence explains what really happened that day. The Tunguska event remains one of the most mysterious explosions in history. The Phaistos Disk. Found in 1908 on the island of Crete, the Phaistos Disk is a 3,500-year-old artifact covered in symbols that no one has been able to decode. Unlike any known writing system, its meaning remains elusive. Is it a prayer, a legal decree, or a message from a lost civilization? The enigma of the Phaistos Disk continues to baffle experts. The disappearance of the 9th Roman Legion. The 9th Roman Legion was one of Rome's most formidable military units, yet it mysteriously vanished from history around 120 CE. Some believe it was wiped out in battle in Britain, while others argue it was reassigned and lost elsewhere. Without definitive records, the fate of the 9th Legion remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of Roman history. As we have seen, history is filled with puzzles that defy explanation. Each of these mysteries raises questions about our past, leaving room for speculation, debate, and wonder. Will we ever uncover the truth behind these enigmas? Or will they forever remain as whispers from the past, tempting us with secrets that may never be revealed? A few years after Bolshevik assassins herded Tsar Nicholas II and his family members into a cellar and opened fire upon them in July 1918, a woman who called herself Anna Anderson surfaced in Europe, claiming to be the Tsar's youngest daughter, Anastasia. She said that she had been carried from the execution site by mysterious benefactors. Though rejected by Romanov relatives, her saga was sufficiently intriguing that Hollywood made it into a 1956 movie starring Ingrid Bergman. Rumors persisted that the young heiress to the throne had somehow escaped death. But in 1991, the mystery took another turn when it was revealed that the bodies of most of the Romanovs and their servants lay in a mass grave in Yekaterinburg, Russia, but the bodies of a male and female child were missing. Source: MAF. That faint hope that Anastasia had escaped was crushed in 2007, when archaeologists discovered a second grave containing two more youthful sets of bones. Like the first set, the new bones were matched with a sample of Nicholas II's DNA, which had been extracted from bloodstains on a shirt worn during an 1891 assassination attempt. With all the Romanovs accounted for, it's now clear that Anastasia died as a young girl with her family. You've undoubtedly heard of the Bermuda Triangle, the area of water between Florida, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda that, according to pop mythology, contains some sort of malevolent force that causes ships, planes, and people to disappear, never to be seen again. Some have put the blame on extraterrestrial invaders, capturing humans for study, on interdimensional vortices, and even on oceanic flatulence, methane gas erupting from ocean sediments. But the real mystery of the Bermuda Triangle is why people are still so eager to believe in it. Back in 1975, librarian and pilot Lawrence David Kusch published his investigation of the phenomena. When he actually reviewed the official reports on ships that paranormal authors had depicted as vanishing inexplicably, he found that they usually sank in bad weather or suffered explainable accidents, and that wreckage sometimes was recovered. Similarly, the U.S. Coast Guard's website notes that the service does not recognize the existence of the so-called Bermuda Triangle as a geographic area of specific hazard to ships or planes, and says that after reviewing accidents there, nothing has been found that couldn't be explained. For a long time, people have puzzled about one of the freakiest societal collapses in human history. Why did the Maya people abandon dozens of cities they'd built in the Yucatan Peninsula in the 700s or 800 CE, and allow what had been a highly developed civilization to turn into ruins? Some have theorized that the Maya were probably defeated in battle by rival peoples, or that the ruling class was overthrown in a peasant revolt. Others have advanced more outlandish explanations, such as an invasion by UFOs. Source: Stromberg. But in a study published in 2012, Arizona State University researchers, who analyzed archaeological data with an eye to figuring out environmental conditions in the Mayan heyday, found evidence to substantiate a theory first advocated by historian Jared Diamond in his 2005 book Collapse. The Maya, the researchers discovered, had burned and chopped down so much of the forests that they had altered the land's ability to absorb solar radiation, which in turn made clouds and rainfall scarce, that exacerbated a naturally occurring drought and caused erosion and soil depletion, which caused agriculture to fail. With less food available, workers were forced to leave the lowland cities to avoid starvation, and everything collapsed as a result. Source: Stromberg. One of the weirdest enigmas of the 1963 assassination of President John F. Kennedy in Dallas was the presence of Umbrella Man. This blurry figure is seen in photographs raising a black umbrella along the presidential route, even though the sky was clear. Some saw him as proof of a conspiracy, an advanced man who was signaling the sniper. Others suspected that he might actually be an assassin himself, firing a poison dart gun concealed in his parasol. Source: Johnson. But when the U.S. House of Representatives reopened the JFK investigation in the late 1970s, a 53-year-old Dallas warehouse manager named Louis XIV Witt came forward and testified that he was Umbrella Man. Granted, his explanation was a bit bizarre. Witt disliked JFK's father, former U.S. Ambassador to the United Kingdom Joseph P. Kennedy, whom he faulted for supporting British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain's appeasement policies toward Hitler. Chamberlain's trademark was his ever-present umbrella, and Witt chose that day to brandish a big, conspicuous one in an effort to needle the president. He brought along a visual aid to the hearing, a battered black umbrella that he claimed was the one he'd used that day. A committee staffer popped it open to reveal that it didn't contain a weapon source, Johnson. Witt added, "If the Guinness Book of World Records had a category for people doing the wrong thing at the wrong time in the wrong place, I would be number one, source Johnson." It bears mentioning that there remain a lot more questions surrounding the assassination of JFK. Of course, Lee Harvey Oswald was found guilty of first-degree murder. Police believed, and still maintain, that he acted alone.